Sunil. So Sunil was doing a difficult speech today. It's a speech in which he practices the skill of selling. What's interesting is oftentimes when people hear about selling, they go, oh, that's somebody else's job. I'm not a salesperson. But anybody who has children, anybody who is married, anybody who pretty much interacts with other people, you're selling on a daily basis, right? So Sunil, this is a great speech, a very powerful speech. So basically in his speech, he had 4 separate things he needed to do, and do them in sequence because this is the traditional selling model. First thing he needed to do was to get the audience's attention. How did he do that? He asked a question, right? He tried to paint a scene. Could you sort of see that scene? Could you almost put yourself in that scene? Okay, I'll give him some credit on that one. Okay. Now the next thing he needed to do, since he had a product to sell, he had to generate interest in that product. How did he go about doing that? Okay, gets a little bit quiet at that point in time, right? So Sunil, you're a very good speaker, so you get the straight feedback, okay? What's interesting about this is that you did a great job on the opening. You actually did a good job on the closing, too, okay? But it's in the middle where things got a little bit slow. Now, ultimately, when you're doing a sales opportunity, this is where you really start to talk about not the features of the product, but really the benefits of the product. And in fact, that's what your speech should have been filled with. Should have been filled with what we would get out of purchasing your product. Now, what happened, and this always happens with engineers, he spent his time talking about the features. All right? In this particular case, there's, 6 models, I think? Did he go over the models? Could you name any of the models after he had gone over them? Probably not. I mean, and even as he went over them, he was working pretty hard to fit them all in there because there was a lot of information. From a technical point of view, that's what we do. If there's a lot of information, I'm going to share it with you, whether you want to have it or not, okay? What would have been a better way to do that? A better way to do that is listen. It looks like there's a number of different models of ways of presenting information. That's fantastic. What's the benefit? It sounds like probably in life there's different situations require different models. That seem like a different sort of thing? It's almost like having a toolbox. And different problems require different sorts of tools, and you reach and you get it. Sunil, you obviously are a very skilled speaker, so there's no questions about that. What I detected in this particular speech is you speak too slow, and you're always speaking at the same rate. This is a sales speech. You got to say, listen, I've got an opportunity. It's going to go away at midnight. I need to tell you why, because you got to take action right now. And then when you're talking to me about benefits, you need to slow down and say, think about your career. Think about what this could do for your life. Use fast. Use those. Those are powerful speaking tools that are available to you. You stood in one spot during the entire speech. Don't do that. You're selling. Here's where you started. Here's when you move, almost as though you're having a discussion with yourself. Don't go on a huge journey, but just move from spot to spot. As you move from different part of your speech to different part of your speech, move your body, actually, so that we understand through a nonverbal cue, you've moved to a new part of your particular speech. Okay? You used a personal story during a speech, right? That's fantastic. That shows that you're human, which is always a good thing, right? But it also brings us into the speech. It says, listen, I had a problem in my life. Here is a product or a solution that could have been applied to help solve that problem. Now I'm going to make this product or solution available to you, okay? Which is a fantastic sales technique. One other thing you need to work on, pauses. Okay, so we talked about moving faster and also slower during your speeches, okay? But you also need to work pauses in there. Model 1, Model 2, pause. Don't cry in Model 1, Model 2, Model 3, okay? Sunil, you did a great job. Great hand gestures. They were all done up here. We could all see them from all the way at the back of the room. You did a good job, and I'm looking forward to your next speech.